You know the rule. You've heard it barked by parents, recited by gym teachers, and printed on the side of cereal boxes before you could read. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You wake up, and before your feet even hit the floor, there's a quiet, anxious voice telling you that your metabolism is about to collapse. You picture your body as a cold furnace, and only a bowl of whole grain flakes can light the match. So you choke down the toast. You drink the orange juice, not because you're hungry, but because you are terrified of what happens if you don't. Sounds logical, right? Sound nutritional advice passed down through generations of wise ancestors who understood the rhythms of the human engine. Nope. But here is the truth. That voice in your head isn't your grandmother's wisdom. It's a commercial. The sanctity of breakfast was not discovered in a metabolic ward. It was invented in a boardroom. In the late 1800s, John Harvey Kellogg, a man obsessed with moral fiber in every sense, began pushing his corn flakes as a spiritual and physical necessity. Later, in the mid-20th century, the true hijacking occurred. Companies like General Mills and Quaker Oats funded the research that proved morning grain was essential. They didn't just sell you a product, they sold you the fear of a slow metabolism. They manufactured a biological emergency that only their processed flakes could solve. The result is a multi-generational anxiety disorder dressed up as dietary protocol. The reality is your body does not check a clock when deciding whether to burn fat. It checks a hormonal state. Intermittent fasting, the literal practice of skipping breakfast, is not a starvation signal. It's a tool for insulin sensitivity. You are not failing your body by listening to your hunger. You are obeying a marketing script that was so successful it became a guilt trip you now voluntarily buy into every morning. The lie didn't just sell cereal, it convinced you that your natural instincts are dangerous. And this is merely the first course. The entire menu of modern health is littered with these appetizing fictions, truths that have been deep fried in advertising dollars until they are unrecognizable. Let's start with the liquid that washes down the cereal. You picture your body as a machine that needs a precise volume of fluid to avoid breaking down. The number 8 is satisfying, absolute. But that figure, the 8 glasses a day, did not drip down from a mountain of peer-reviewed research. It bubbled up from a 1945 recommendation by the Food and Nutrition Board. But here is the part marketers sliced off and threw away. The very same report explicitly stated that most of this water comes from the food you eat. Yet the bottled water industry took the stripped-down number and weaponized it, sponsoring hydration studies and selling you the fear that your natural thirst mechanism is a broken liar. The reality is that your body has an exquisitely tuned, million-year-old system for regulating fluid balance. Forcing down gallons of plastic-packaged water is not a detox. It is a tribute paid to a fear invented by a sales department. Then we must confront the grandest nutritional heist of the last century, the war on fat. Fat makes you fat. Sounds obvious, right? The culprit is even hiding in the name. We stripped the yolks out of our omelets and poured the sugar-laden skim nightmare down our throats. But the enemy was never the avocado. The big lie was paid for by the sugar industry. Internal documents from the 1960s revealed that the Sugar Research Foundation paid 3 Harvard scientists to downplay the link between sugar and heart disease while shifting the entire blame onto saturated fat. This corrupted science built the food pyramid, that upside-down monument to grain-funded lobbying. Your body needs fat to build cell walls, absorb vitamins, and fire neurons. What happens when you remove the fat? You remove the taste. And what fills the void? Starch, processed carbohydrates, and high-fructose corn syrup. The result was not a healthier nation. It was an explosion of metabolic disease, a generation trained to believe a Snackwell's cookie was health food because the box screamed fat-free, ignoring the chemical soup inside. The lie blinded you to the quiet, patient way a sugar molecule steals your vitality, while the beef patty took the blame. When you get sick from that metabolic chaos, or just a common cold, you reach for another marketing talisman, vitamin C. You were taught that it's a shield, a direct countermeasure to the rhinovirus. This belief was hammered into public consciousness by a single man, Linus Pauling, a Nobel laureate whose 1970 book was not science, but celebrity propaganda. The global vitamin industry seized him as a hero. But clinical trial after clinical trial shows the bitter truth. Taking vitamin C does not prevent you from getting a cold. At best, regular supplementation might shorten the duration by half a day, but half a day is not a cure, it's a rounding error. Yet we overdose on expensive, bright-colored packets of effervescent powder, paying for the most expensive urine on the planet, while the cold virus simply obeys its biological clock. We are not treating the infection, we are treating the anxiety of being sick with a ritual disguised as medicine. The same psychology fuels the most seductive lie of the modern era, the detox. You feel sluggish, a little sinful after the holidays, and the market answers with a whisper. You are toxic. You need a cleanse. You picture a scrub brush scrubbing your intestinal walls, but your liver is not a clogged drain. It is the most sophisticated chemical processing plant in existence, a self-cleaning oven that works tirelessly 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The only thing a juice cleanse cleans is the money from your bank account. The fatigue you feel when you starve yourself is not toxins leaving. It is hypoglycemia. It is your brain running on empty. The detox industry sells you a solution to a problem that doesn't exist, and it works because you feel physically punished, and we are taught that penance must be good for us. Even your physical sensations have been branded. You believe you lose most of your body heat through your head. Your mother forced a hat on you, insisting that 70% of your warmth was escaping through your scalp like steam from a chimney. The math is a fiction, based on a poorly interpreted military experiment. Soldiers were exposed to cold, wearing survival suits, but no hats. Unsurprisingly, the only exposed skin lost the most heat. It was simply surface area. If the soldiers had worn hats but no pants, the myth would be about losing heat through your bottom. The head accounts for only about 10% of your body's surface area. Heat escapes equally from any uncovered skin. The hat industry loved this myth. It gave them a monopoly on perceived warmth while you left your ankles bare in winter, distracted from dressing properly. We even manipulate the dirt. You believe antibacterial soap is superior, a scientific upgrade that annihilates germs. But for the average household, it is not just useless, it is potentially harmful. The active ingredient needs to sit on your skin for minutes to work, not the 10 seconds of a hand wash. You are not killing the bacteria, you are exposing the ecosystem of microbes to a low-grade antibiotic, training superbugs. The FDA has ruled that these soaps are no more effective than plain soap and water. The friction, the mechanical act of lifting dirt and microbes off your oily skin, is what cleans you. Soap doesn't kill the germs, it just evicts them. But the marketing sold you fear of the invisible, and you paid extra to feel like a sterile laboratory, not realizing the simple, cheap bar of soap was winning the fight all along. And what about the mechanics of your own mind? You have heard that you only use 10% of your brain. Picture a vast gray continent of untapped genius, just waiting for a pill or a guru to unlock it. This is the most flattering lie ever told. Every part of your brain has a function, constantly humming. An MRI scan shows no dormant, dark zones. The myth was adopted enthusiastically by self-help charlatans in Hollywood because it promises you are secretly a god, just a bit blocked up. Selling you access to your unused 90% is the pitch for countless scams. It implies you are not failing, you are just dormant. But you do not have a sleeping Einstein in your frontal cortex. You have an expensive, fully operational biological computer that is already a miracle. Finally, there is the post-meal ritual. Wait 30 minutes after eating before you swim, or you will cramp and drown. Generations of children have sat shivering on the poolside edge, staring resentfully at a stopwatch, convinced a ham sandwich was about to turn into a murder weapon. The theory is that digestion diverts blood to the stomach, starving the limbs of oxygen, causing a paralyzing muscle spasm. No child has ever drowned from a sandwich-induced cramp. It was a rule invented to give parents a quiet half hour of sunbathing, passed down as safety science. You were not being protected from physiology, you were being managed. And the worst part is, you'll probably make your own kids wait too, because the lie is a comfortable way to assert control. So how do you navigate a world where the ingredients are lies, but the packaging says science? You stop asking if a fact feels familiar, and you start asking who profits from you believing it. Drink This was often written by a beverage executive. Eat That was drafted by a grain lobbyist. Detox This was dreamed up by a wellness influencer with an affiliate code.
The fix is simple but radical. You pause. When you hear a health claim that feels absolute, you trace the money. You look for the hungry ghost behind the advice. Science is a process, messy, tentative, and constantly self-correcting. Marketing is a product, polished, absolute, and designed to stop you from thinking. Your body is not a malfunctioning machine that needs corporate intervention to survive. It does not need a factory to tell it when to drink, when to eat, or when to clean itself. The greatest marketing trick ever pulled was convincing you that your own instincts are unreliable, but they are not. Thirst is smarter than the 8-glass rule. Hunger is wiser than the breakfast aisle. And real food, the stuff that rots slowly on a counter, is more honest than any label that has to scream natural in bold type. The truth is often cheap, simple, and quiet. It does not come in a shiny box, it does not need a celebrity endorsement, and it does not need you to believe it to work. Because while marketing shouts, the biology just quietly keeps you alive, waiting with infinite patience for you to stop listening to the adverts and start listening to yourself.